How you doing? Oh, hey, Geezer and Dr. A and B and Clyde. How you doing? Bruce, I haven't seen you in a long time. And that's something. Joe, Seth, punters. Hey, Mike. Uh, hey, Truth Spears. Oh, hi, everybody. Today, hey, Kess. Let's. Hey, Tim. How you doing, man? Oh, it's rainy. It's rainy here in Connecticut too. How was the watch time show? Hi, James. That's what I wanted to talk about. Hey, Dr. A and B. What A and B stands for? Um, anyhow, well, listen, yeah, that's what I wanted to. A lot of you guys are here, or at least some of you are here who are also at the show. And so I'd like, if there's something there you think that was, that I left out, but let me provide a couple things that I thought were at least that I felt that were important, even perhaps insightful. Uh, there was a little period. It was one of those things. Who was it? So Bruce and Adam and I were off to the side, and we got into a discussion with Stephen Forsay of Uberl and Forsay, and hey James, and it was just listening to him. He was going on about this $250,000 watch that they had, and why it cost so much, and why they did that, and so forth. And and it was really interesting. And they talked about the double tourbillon, and he said, "Yeah, well, I know it doesn't work. The regular tourbillon didn't work so hot with a wristwatch because it would go in more directions than this." And he said the old pocket watches, they would stay pretty much like this, and your tourbillon could take care of the kinds of movements they had. And so they did that. And I also asked them about how come they like the lower frequency and some of the other things that I thought were interesting. And so it was just chatting. It wasn't at the booth. It was off to the side, and there wasn't any, like, it wasn't a sales pitch, and we weren't whining about the prices or anything like that. We were just all talking about some horological issues. And the so the whole discussion was just a nice one. I realized he's talking about this watches, and they're making $250,000 watches. And I also, at least somewhere in my mind, says you're never going to have a watch like that. And normally I'm pretty optimistic. I'm thinking also, if I had $250,000, I have other things that and about 50 watches I could buy for that too. So it was sort of an interesting thing. Clyde, your question about the what was it, the Alanga? I saw one, but we didn't see it at the show. I mean, it was at the show probably, but we saw it at Cellini's over down on Park Avenue, and Adam and I had gone down there, and I think they were going to throw us out, but the owner came out and he knew me, so we ended up having an interesting conversation, and he asked me the same question you did about the Alanga Odysseus, and I said, I really like that watch for a $9,000 watch. I mean, and that was, a $28,000 watch. Yeah, something else. And I think it's Leon or Leo, the owner. Well, and what he did, he was telling me, and I guess anyone else around, I think everybody went and hid after we got into it. But we really didn't get into it. We just having a discussion. He said, well, the Nautilus costs X amount and yada, 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 and back and forth about the prices of those watches. Now, I mean, it was like, okay, I'm telling you what it's worth to me as a watch collector, not as somebody in the watch business. And I don't care what a Nautilus cost. There was this comedy, this really funny thing that I saw that so that your hotel has bed bugs, and someone else said, well, so does another hotel. In other words, they weren't really addressing what I was interested in, but rather, oh, what about them? And so it's like, well, what about the Nautilus? I know I didn't say, well, it's probably overpriced too, but instead we were just talking about it. And I looked at it, and there are other watches I'd rather have. I think that was another thing. Well, anyway, so the first thing was that we the $250,000 watches we're not going to go marching off with. Um, and instead, but they tell us something, or they can tell us something. Now, you can get a tourbillon from China for a really good price if you have to have a tourbillon. That was how I got my regulator. I wanted a regulator. I didn't know why, but so I got a real inexpensive one just so I'd have a regulator. But it wasn't the kind of thing that was sort of on my grail list or anything like that. But I wanted one, and the ones that Patek Philippe had. Shane had one from Patek Philippe, and it's absolutely beautiful. And there was another one by Laurent Ferrier that I really liked too. And but I couldn't afford it. And see, the other thing is sort of there's a hierarchy of what I really want. I like watches by Moser because they're so well built, and there's just so many things about them that I like. So I happen to like those more than some other ones. Hi, Johnny. How you doing, man? Richard. Hey, how's it going? Leon, that's his name. Thank you. Anyway, so we were talking about that. Anyway, that was in responses to Clyde's question about what did I think of the Odysseus, and that was what I said. I had it. Leon, I like Leon too. This guy knows so much about watches. Really, if you go to New York, go to Cellini's. There's this woman at the front who didn't like us taking pictures. So I did. On the other hand, some people took a lot of pictures, and then after, hi Ivan. So after Leon came out and realized that we weren't, as I guess people who just got off of Metro North and were there. Anyway, had a good time. Talking to one of the Longa watchmakers, and he showed me the Zeitwerk movement they had under a microscope. Absolutely fascinating. The detail is incredible. Hi, Britt. Yeah, they are. No doubt about it. But anyway, hey Eddie, Randy, how's it going, man? The other thing I think that sort of after this talk that we had with hi Julius, that we had with Stephen Forsay was that what the really expensive ones we never afford. Now we're probably not going to find a single or double tourbillon outside of China that is like what we would call affordable. I mean, in a really affordable way. But there are other kinds of things. And one of the things that I asked him about was I said, how come so few watchmakers have a Remontois d'Égalité? And he said, oh, we have one, and told me about it. That was okay. But I was asking him, why is it? Here you have this really cool thing from the old days, we'll say that, where you have a mechanical device that to me is quite ingenious, where you have this little winder and unwinder, and this is to give it constant force. Okay. But so very few watchmakers have one in their watches. And uh he had the the whole of the essence of it. Well, it's complicated. I mean, it's complicated to do. And so that naturally it was even more attractive. Now, some remontoirs are more complicated than others. The remontoire that's in the Jardin de Coutre, what's it called, True Seconds, isn't quite as complicated because it only deals with the true seconds. On the other hand, some of the other ones that where they go on their little trip to make things just right are much more complicated. Geezer, do I like Clyde? Everyone likes Clyde. I don't know anyone who does. How could you not like Clyde? Of course, I like Clyde, Geezer. Hi, Ivan. Okay, let's see what else you guys have here. A lot of people do not understand the engineering that goes into having a digital display like that. So it's durable but instantaneous. Okay. You know, there's another one. There's a digital display that I had for a while, and this was the FP Journe Vagabondage. Now, that display, the digital display, was simply a little disc moving with the on it. That was in it probably way more complicated than I understand. Okay, what's your opinion? Hey, Shane, how you doing, man? All of these names. There were a lot of people that we had talked to before, but they had these different names. I didn't know who they were, so now I know. By the way, my wife had a delightful time at the breakfast thing with Shane's wife. They really were very. I just met so many cool people. Okay, that's another thing. That was another thing I wanted to talk about. At the show, it was, I think, on Saturday, and there was I was standing there. This guy comes up to me and he says, "Oh, I like the show, yada yada yada." That was a nice thing to say. And I asked him about his watch, and he had on, I think it was a Rolex GMT Master 2, okay, with the what do they call it, Batman colors on the bezel, and he was with his friend, and his friend had on a really gorgeous Speedmaster. And it was like semi-color, and I don't know why at that point. Here are these two guys. They were good friends, and they came to the show. One had a Rolex, one had the Omega, and I think there was that sense there. Is that, I saw some watches that Richard had. I thought, oh wow, look at that, and really enjoying other people's watches. And in the same way, the guy's Rolex was a really pretty one. I mean, it just looked really good. Same with the Omega. These guys were buddy. They didn't want to have some like, oh, mine's better than yours or anything like that. It's just like, look at all of this stuff. Okay, my future watch. Well, I think I mentioned before. I made a deal on a watch, and the guy didn't take a credit card, so I'm saving up for it. So that will be revealed shortly. The other one that I want to get is, and I've seen several that I like, is the Rolex Prince. That one I like. And the other one, and I saw this at the show I really like, is the Breguet Tradition. Now, there was something else about the guy. I feel bad sometimes about the way I come on to these guys. The poor guy at the Cellini Prince. That was the one I'm talking about. This guy at the Breguet place. So I go up there and I asked to see the Tradition. I tried it on, and I just love it. It's a great looking watch, I think. And I looked at the back, and it was an automatic. but it had the rotor that looked like Abraham Louis would have made. So I thought that was pretty cool too. But I like the hand wound. I'm not a big fan of automatics, even though several of my watches are automatic. So I said to the guy, I said, well, how come you didn't bring your hand wound with you? He said, well, we got, I forgot, emptied how many different models of watches that we have. He said, we couldn't have brought all of them. I said, why not? This isn't for you, it's for collectors. We want to see all of them. Maybe I'm sure they're not as popular because people tend to like automatics more than hand wound. But it's like, of course you should have brought them. It's just, as watch collectors, we should expect everything because we certainly pay enough for it. And so anyway, that was sort of a thing. The guy was pretty cool though, and they gave me a hardback book to take with me, and that was so I'll be looking at that and wanting one of those traditions. Okay, what's going on here? Hey, Forbin Colossus, how's it going, man? The Rolex disciples try to hustle Bill into their religion. Like, no, it was the opposite. I kept telling these long-suffering Rolex owners that we're going to have an intervention for them and it'd be okay soon. It was all right. Let's see. Every chance we get. Bruce was one of the guys we were setting up an intervention for. That was funny. And that poor guy comes up with his buddy who had a Rolex. It's a good looking Rolex too. And it's told him the same thing. What's the piece you saw on someone else's wrist that most impressed you and why? Oh man, I tell you, this is one of the things, Clyde. It was like a kaleidoscope. You see one after another, after another, after another. And I'm trying to think which one. The Voutilanen that Richard had was really nice. Let me see. What else did I see that I liked? I saw so many. It was just, it was, there were so many people there that I really enjoyed talking with. By the way, too, if you get a chance, go to this next year. We had more fun, even things that were sort of crazy. See, Dave brought his son Alex with him, and Alex had, over the years, Alex was admitted to a really prestigious watchmaking school, and as we sort of following his career, and now he's working at the Patek Philippe Center in Rockefeller Center. And a few years ago, I'd been there to get some hairsprings for my Calatrava, and not hairspring, but spring bars. And I would just like the place was. Then the people were so helpful. Talking to him. Here's his kid. He's, I don't know, in the 20 or so, and I'm listening to him at breakfast, and he was telling me all about this stuff. It was fast. It was fantastic. And it's sort of the unexpected people. It looked like Bruce had grown several inches or had shrunk, and we had. I think my wife and I wore out Adam. Adam's a marathon runner. We were all over town with him. Had a really good time. Let's see. I would like to watch show where watch models are modeled by nude models. Yeah, but see, you're paying attention to the wrong thing. That's a lot of things are sold that way. So let's see. Go to the watch times. Rasher Bilbo, how you doing, man? I'd take a simple Charles Forsham over most of the stuff at these shows. Okay, all right. Yeah, that's another point. Hi, Johnny Bangkok. How you doing, man? This is one of the things that sometimes after a show, you see all of these things that, oh God, why didn't I go there? Why didn't I spend more time there? There's so many things going on. There's a watch company, a new one called Tulloch, Tullocch, and Shane Tulloch was there. And I walked by that booth 100 times, I swear to God. and it was always somebody there to talk to or something else, and when I came back, I saw this new watch they just put out. Oh man, that was really a good looking watch, and I think it's very affordable too. So some of the guys who did go by there sent some shots, some wrist shots, and things they had, and it was really cool. That's one of the things about the Watch Time show. It just, man, it was a lot of fun. Hey, Marco, uh, 3 a.m. Johnny, thank you. Oh my God, I it, I know there's got to be a time. I try to. This is, it's really late at night in Finland, and here it's like sort of. I try to get a time that's good for different people, but it's impossible. Maybe I ought to have one in the morning sometime, and then you guys in Asia wouldn't have to get up so early. Hey, Stack and Zerps, how you doing, man? 10 p.m. in Geneva. Yeah, that's in my workshop. You're working on a tourbillon, Marco. Oh, wow. Oh, that's cool. That's sort of now those of us who are members of pretentious watchmakers, I got to tell you, some of these guys we may have to kick out because they're getting pretty good. This guy did this. He took what was it? I think it was a 6498 or 6497, and he showed the before and after. The before looked like a 6498, and after looked like something that FP Journe had done. He took the kind of everything that he did to the plates and the bridges was just amazing. So, we may have to ask this guy to leave because he's so good. Hey, Frantech, how you doing, man? How do you like the new A Longa? Uh, you know, pas mal. That's I can say. I'm not a. It's not so much the A Longa. Um, as I told Leon, it's like, I like it for 9,000, but not for 28,000. Now, for 28,000, the one I like is one that I don't think too many people are going to go after, and that's the Fiona Kruger Entropy, because that thing looks like somebody blew up on something on the watch. Well, that's what it's supposed to look like. The indexes are all blast points, and when I first saw that, I didn't like it at all. But man, I tell you, the more I find out about the movement, Agenhor did that entire movement, and it's just amazing. So that's 28,000, and that's for a stainless steel. So that's probably not going to happen. Okay, let's see. Yeah, that new sports lane, it's okay. One of the things that I started looking at with I came to really like my Seiko 5 even more. It's got good history. It's got a lot of first in it and so forth, and it's very affordable. But we went to the Seiko booth, and we went there probably for the wrong reasons. Hey, Al, how's it going, man? I got that right? 24K? Anyway, so we go over to the Seiko place, and we went there because this guy said, hey, they got these really great bags there for you. And they had, so who was it? I guess Adam and I went, and they had these great big bags with the leather straps, leather corners, I guess. And I mean, it was like a really neat, bag. And so I guess, you don't want to go up to a place and say, oh, hey, here you got these really great bags. We want one. So Adam and I guess, were a little too shy to ask. So this other guy comes up and he says, hey, I hear you got these bags. So the guy goes and he gets 3 of us, one for all of us. Hey, Bill, how you doing, man? You've been making watches. I've been breaking them more. I can tell you, I'm getting really good at breaking watches. That was another thing too. I was thinking about is that what brands were there? Oh my God. it's almost what brands weren't there. There was so many that there must have been 30 or 40. I'm not sure all of them. A Laga was there. Brigade was there. I mentioned Tulloch was there. Omega, uh, Durable Force, uh, Akivara. I said that wrong. Wooten Lonan and Kerry Wooten Lonan was there. I mean, it just like goes on and on and on. Chopek. Uh, I tell you, Clyde, there were so many there. I had put them all up at one time on the High Horology Lounge, but I can't remember all. Hey, Alton, how's it going, man? Klaus. Hey, Klaus. The new Langa kind of gives you what you wanted yesterday. Who does it give that to? Let's see. Not getting my time. Let's see. Where the drinks or food playfully named on the watch seem like a Tas Tourbillon or a Soothfly. No. Mine were all called margaritas and champagne. Hey, Paul, how's it going, man? Akriva. Thank you, Paul. That's exactly right. Hey, Jamie. Richard, how's it going, man? Did you speak with Kerry there? He was at Cellini's on Thursday. I had a long interview with him last year at the show, and he was really busy. And I don't want to go in and start asking nerdy questions to somebody who was selling watches. We had that really great conversation with Stephen Force, and I didn't get to talk to him last year. So, you sort of, some people you get and some you don't. But he was there, and, who did I talk to? I know, Moritz Grossman, Christine Hutter. I told her we stole her idea from, but she was the one who came up with the idea that she gave a watch to Red Bar. And so I told her, I said, I do want to thank you. That was where he got the idea. And then we got the Rolf Lang Dresden that we've been passing around. And that was another thing. There was a handoff from Adam to, let's see who went. No. It was handoff to Adam from Howard. And so I was looking for both of them. That was the other thing. I spent most of my time with people and not as much. I mean, with people and watches, everybody had watches. Every booth had watches, and it was sort of going around all of them. So, it just was like a whirlwind. We must have walked. I think my Fitbit clocked me for about 5 miles of just going back and forth. See. So did she give you a watch? I didn't ask for one. I didn't want her to think that I was hustling her, because I wasn't. I just wanted to say, hey, thanks for the idea. This is we're trying to coordinate it. I bite my nails every time. Here you got this $20,000 watch we're passing around, and that's really a cool watch. And he gave us or made us a special one that had what he calls the marine chronometer movement in it. It's just really cool. It's actually Rivia, a great young and accomplished watchmaker. Yeah, I talked with him for just a little while. Last year, when I interviewed him, he and I had a lot of trouble communicating because he was afraid his English wasn't good enough, and I can't hear half the things people say anyway, so it doesn't bother me too much. That was another thing that happened when we first met Adam. Adam was talking about all these watches. I'd never heard of them before. And what he was doing, he was giving them the right pronunciations, and I didn't know what he was talking about. until I realized that he did. That was fun. Um, did you speak with no, I didn't speak with him. He was at he was at Cellini's. There were a lot of people there. Richard went to Cellini's and he was with all of these guys. And I think that was where he got his boot and Latin too. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, Richard. Hey James, how you doing, man? Uh did any of those aggressive high beat guys buttonhole you over the preference for 2.5 hertz? It was really funny. It did come up at the Brigade when I was talking to the guy at Brigade, and I asked him about. I think the ones I like were 3 hertz, and there was a gal there, and she said something about. She said, "Well, we have this 10 hertz one," and I said, "Yeah, but that thing is suspended with magnets. I mean, there's no, there's no, I don't know what." Uh, Rubbing against the rubies or anything like that. That thing is in the air, and you have this. I mean, it's sort of like a top. That thing is an amazing watch. The thing is, it costs like $1 billion. Way over something. And this is another thing. Yeah, I think. The whole issue of accuracy is sort of a funny one, okay? We know we got our, I got my iPhone and and I set all my watches with my iPhone or with my computer. Accuracy is not an issue. It really isn't in some respects. This one has a double hairspring, so it keeps the balance on the pivot, and it keeps wonderful time. But it keeps wonderful time. There's no silicon, there's no batteries, there's no nothing like that. There's simply really good craftsmanship. Now, how far can you take that? Well, if you take a look at the 6498, you get a good 6498. You can tweak that thing, and it really keeps good time. By a 6498, I'm talking about an ETA 6498. Some of the same is true with some of the Seagulls, some of the Chinese movements that I break on almost regularly. Okay. What did you wear to the show? I wore a coat and tie. That was what I wore. I tell you, some of the guys, they had a coat on and a dress shirt, but didn't wear a tie, and that's cool. They were they were very cool about it. Yeah, Clyde, you're right. 6498-1. The -2 is a 3 hertz instead of 2.5 hertz. Good point. Okay, frictionless movement. That's right, James. That's exactly what it is. That's the word I was looking for too. Did you have any New York steak? New York steak. No, let me see what they had. Nope, I didn't have any of that. Trying to think of something that I have sometimes. What we had for dinner there was we had a lot of interesting dishes, and we had more than enough to eat at the show. Friday night, they kept going around with one really interesting hors d'oeuvre after another, and then they had this little dinner for us, and that was sort of you sort of eat on the wall kind of dinner, and they had all of these different dishes. It was really good. So I don't think any steak was involved. It could have been. Okay, what else is going on? Magnets inside a movement. They should be locked up in whose house? Okay, did you wear a black and white striped shirt with a beret? Yeah, I did. I mean, if you're going to, well, no, there was a vertical stripe. It wasn't a my French olive seller outfit. Also, too, I had a different hat. I had a different beret when we were in Barcelona a couple years ago. There's not a big call for them, so I got a new one because they're out of wool, and as winter's coming, they're really comfortable. I don't have a more comfortable hat, um, and you know, I don't have anything else on top to keep my head warm. Uh, what's your grail? A remontoir, geezer, some remontoir, a remontoir d'égalité, which would either be an Optimum by FP Journe, which is just these things are sky high in price. The newer one I like, and then I think that you made it like a total 188 is that Gronfeld, um, the Gronfeld Remontoir. I was looking at some of those. They had two of them at Cellini's. One was like 50,000, the other was 69, something. I mean, they were way up there. So that's, one of those things. I have to follow, if somebody who just fell off the turnip truck who took up Watt's collection wants to trade one in and get a good deal, I'll have to find them, but unlikely. Did you notice any overall trend from what was displayed this year? Not really. I mean, the thing that I liked about it, like I mentioned, was a guy with these two friends showed up. One had a Rolex, one had an Omega, and they were both cool looking watches. And I don't think anybody really cared. That was the neat thing. There were some watches that were sort of probably relatively inexpensive, but they were cool too. I started to say something about Seiko, not the Grand Seiko. Grand Seiko was there, and then they had Seiko in another room, and that was sort of like in the entryway. There was this big Seiko display. I think it was a mistake because you'd have to almost like go out to go to the regular Seiko place. But what they had there that was interesting, and I forgot about. Couple of years ago, they won the Grand Prix sports watch for what I think is a very affordable Seiko Sports. All of, I don't think any silicons in it. So it was something that I'm looking for for an affordable sports watch. But I've got that Seiko 5, so I don't know, maybe not. Notice I see. What's your wife's grail? I don't know. She's got something pretty grailish right now. She's got this Beauvais Amadeo, gorgeous watch. It has the guilloche on mother of pearl and the serpentine hands. Man, that was something. If it wasn't a girly watch, I wouldn't mind having it. I highly recommend anyone who can make it to New York next year to attend WatchTime. It's a fantastic show. Yeah, Bruce, that's right. I think that the best part about it is that we get to meet with people, and you may be talking to someone before you realize for a while, I know you from here, or I know you from there, and very much a worldwide thing. And I would also recommend going to the Friday night party as well as to the show on Saturday. It's like I think the Friday night thing is $150, and I don't know what it is for the day. But if you go to the Friday night party, then you get to go to the Saturday one too. So for $150, you get both things. And I got to tell you, you go to New York, and that's the best deal in town. You can't go out to eat for that, let alone have a 2-day show. It's really worth it. Were there any watches from the Grand Prix d'Horlogerie de Genève? Forbin Colossus, yes, and they were advertised as that. That was the thing. Some time ago, I'd mentioned that it's important, or at least some people think it's important. Boy, I tell you, watch sellers think it's important because they would have one of those little Grand Prix logos next to the watch that was there. That I mentioned the Seiko sports watch, but there were other ones. You go through the show and you'll see them on different watches there. Um, $50 for the day. Yeah, Richard. Yeah, that sounds right. And they had what they have starting at 1 o'clock. They had Four Roses bourbon tasting. I think that's before right before they start letting some people sell some watches. And they load you up. It was Tim Masso there. Yeah, Tim was there. Uh, Somebody had his picture taken with him. I don't know Tim, but except by reputation, and I like his videos and things. It was really cool. Yeah, we had that dog pile. I don't know what they call it. Everybody puts their watch out, and somebody takes a picture. That was fun. Ford Perfect and his glasses. Yeah. On his head, you mean? Yeah. I didn't see that. He had his picture taken with something. I can't remember who it was. Hey, Beauty of Scent. How much was the tickets? Yeah, that was like for 2 days, including the party, it was $150. And I guess for one day on Saturday it was 50. Yeah, Bruce, it was you. Yeah, that was where I saw the picture with. Bruce, did he have his glasses up there on him? Introduce yourself by your nickname. Yep. Good for you. Anyway, well, listen, guys, we've sort of gone over a little today, but I'm going to have to bolt, and I'll try to get back on a regular schedule next week. I have sort of one short mini collection review, but it's only it's a small one because it's just part of it. So I'll probably have it with something else. So if you're interested in having your collection reviewed, I did a little video on it, and you can find it on Watch Art Side. Okay. Great seeing, talking to everybody, and hope to see you until next Friday then. Bill Sanders for Watch Art Side. Take care.